I'm your host, Jahze Yvette, and this is Too Many Opinions. I'm sitting with my guests, Cutty and Katherine, and this is I'm Married But I'm Single.
F marriage.
Yeah,
Like,
so
whoa.
I was talking about, I feel like currently marriage is not a goal for people. Not saying all, be careful with my words. Most married people that I know are miserable
Whoa.
and not happy and don't want to be married. They would prefer to be single.
So, guys, let's just jump straight into it. Are we in a state right now in 2023 where marriage isn't something that's on people's mind? It's something that people is just not thinking about, Cuddy?
Well, I speak to women every day on my advice calls, and it still is for them. Um, every day I'm speaking to somebody who wants to get married and have kids like yesterday
Yeah.
because they've never done it.
Yeah.
They feel like either they need to experience it, they need to check off the box. Sometimes there's pressure from their family. They just want to say that they did it to do it, but I don't know if they really believe in it or what their real value is behind it. But I do hear it a lot personally, being somebody who speaks to women every single day
Every
privately.
single day. So, Katherine, me and you've been knowing each other a while. I know the dating pool has been crazy just throughout our 20s, going into our 30s. Do you believe in marriage right now in 2023?
I do. And I feel like in my circle, we talk about marriage, right? So I also have a small circle. So maybe I'm a little naive to what other women are saying.
Yeah.
But we talk about marriage. And we all talk about like dating intentionally and working towards these goals to have a healthy relationship,
Yeah.
including marriage. And I feel like those are the conversations I also hear when I
Right.
run into women or random things on Instagram. Women are talking about marriage. So I don't know. I also, of course, hear people say, like, nah, like as long as it's a relationship, we're committed, we're compatible, then fine. But
Do you hear where Lala's coming from, though? Do you hear those type of things, Cuddy? I know you said you
Absolutely.
speak to women every day. So where she's coming from, do you think she's coming from a bitter space because she's been divorced? Or is it more so for you like, nah, this is happening? A lot of women do feel this way. A lot of men do feel this way.
No, I think it also depends on like where the age group, if everybody's friends and family is married or
Right.
getting married, having children, but also social media, people see all the weddings and they want that. But where she's coming from, I do get that on a flip side because I do get a lot of calls of women who are dating married men.
Mm.
Like, so a lot of people feel like, what's the difference?
What's the point of it?
Like what's the point?
Is it because the pool is small? Because I mean, I know that's how I feel. I think I saw something the other day where a lady was like, if you're looking for like a rich, successful man, it's 15% of the world because most men don't make over $100,000. So if you're
Mhm.
looking for someone that has a certain amount of money, and it looks good and successful,
Yeah.
then you're 9 out of 10 times they're probably gay or they already married.
Mhm.
And so you're finding women that's in several different relationships,
Yeah.
like with married men, like you spoke on.
When it comes to that, I feel like it's a cop out, it's a laziness.
Mm.
They just feel like there's not enough to go around.
That's the same.
I don't know that I necessarily believe that. I mean, I don't know, maybe statistically it could be proven, but what I know is you meet a man, what I've experienced, especially hearing it from other women and maybe even myself in the past, is like you meet a man, he has money, and it's like, oh, I want this one. It doesn't matter what his situation is.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not that there aren't other men out there that
Right.
are single, no, not a lot of baggage, have money. Cause I know them, I meet them, but I don't stop at the first, at the lowest hanging fruit and say, oh, found one, caught one, and then just don't move forward from there. It's almost like people operate from the scarcity mindset that there's not enough.
Yeah.
So, oh, I'll just do this for a little while, but then it just turns into something much longer and way more dramatic.
For me, I mean, I'm 31 years old and I've been single for 12 years.
Mm.
And I've been in this space in my life right now where it's like the older I get, the more I enjoy being
Oh,
alone.
yeah.
And I don't know, it's because I haven't been in a space with somebody to
Mhm.
experience that. But then at the same time, it's like I kind of feel Lala a little bit. It's like I want my babies. Do I really want the marriage?
Mhm.
Because in my head, it's like I've seen so much infidelity.
Mhm.
I've seen so much chaos inside of a marriage.
Yeah.
People breaking up for nothing. So it's like, why am I put myself in that position if I haven't really seen anything positive? Do you feel the same way, Kat?
Kind of. I also enjoy being single. I've been single 6 years. I have hesitations about sharing my bed with someone again.
Okay,
I like to
nice.
lay out, right?
Right.
Okay, so
Scratch my ass, spot on,
right?
you know
Leave me
that.
alone. So I agree to an extent. Like I do enjoy parts of being single, but I agree with you. Like I think it's lazy. You dating married man, like girl, do the effort. And I don't think dating is easy. And I think the misconception is that people think like, oh, you shouldn't be single, or why are you single? There has to be something wrong with you.
Right.
Right. Or they just jump into something just for the sake of saying they're not alone.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not gonna settle. Like I'd rather be single for 15 years before I'm caught with a married man.
But
That's not my man.
When we talk about settle, we all say that. Then we look up and we be 45, 50, 60 and still be
Then
single.
be
so
alone.
that should be kind of
Listen, then I would say be alone. I think soulmates exist, right? But most people don't want to like take the time, work on themselves, and just find their soulmate, right?
Yeah.
Instead, you just rush into something else with a married man just to be like, well, whatever. He got money.
Right.
I don't care if you got money. I mean, I don't want you to be broke. Let me just let
Let's
me
say
be clear. Okay. Not broke, right? But doing something, right?
Right.
You're doing something for your life and not just at home playing video games, then whatever.
Right.
Like I could care less. I definitely have had married men DM me, whatever. You got a baby on the way. Men do not care.
They do not
okay?
care.
They do not care. But I refuse to believe that every man is that way.
But the thing about it is the I won't say the depression or disappointment about it when people are dating. Every single time somebody calls me about dating, they're like, I'm tired. I can't do this no more. I'm fed up. I went out with four. I'm like, oh, have you online dated? Girl, I went out with four guys already from the app and it didn't work out. I was like, you did not scratch the surface. That is 0.000000001% of the population. Don't tell me about 4 dates. Don't tell me about 10 dates. Don't tell me about 100 dates. I don't care. Because that you still did not do your due diligence. Like people seem to think that, I'm like, and what's the likelihood that you're going to find your perfect person within 20-mile radius, in your state?
So you
He's
believe in online
convenient.
dating?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow. That's a very touchy topic for me. We're gonna get to that, but let's go to my opinionator. Ultimate Black Man said, Black folks are the only group on this planet talking like this publicly. I'm sorry. We love running around talking about building generational wealth, but the easiest way to do that is through marriage. It's okay to have these kids out of wedlock, but marriage is where we draw the line. We allow bitter folks to lead these conversations, and it's time we stop that. It's getting us nowhere. Can you speak to me, Ultimate Black Man? Love your name, by the way.
This is the thing. The number one way for any group or community to gain wealth is through marriage, and you have to have a family unit, a family dynamic, in order to gain that generational wealth. Black folks are the only people on the planet that try to run from this. Other communities are experiencing this crisis as well. In Japan, they have a marriage crisis, but they understand that if they don't get the families, the men and the women together and create families, that their economy suffers, their society suffers. They get this. Black folks are the only people on the planet that run from this, and I do not understand why. We have all these single mother households, and we don't have to get into why we have all these single mom households, but that isn't a direct correlation as to why we have so many limited resources financially, because we don't take marriage serious. I heard someone say that, hey, I want my baby, but I don't want marriage. That's a little backwards to me. How can you want a baby but not marriage, knowing studies show that kids that grow up in single parent led households have less desirable outcomes than kids that grow up in two parent households. So what men and women are going to have to do, Black men and Black women are going to have to do, is they're going to have to come to the table and come to terms and negotiate the terms on what a healthy marriage, a healthy family looks like. So that's what I meant when I said that comment. We have all these conversations about 50-50 and who paying for the dates, all this silly, goofy stuff, but we're not talking about the reasons why we're not getting married, why only 29% of Black folks are getting married. The next highest is Latinos, and it's like 50-something%. I understand other groups, they go through things too, but they, at the end of the day, they understand that they have to get married in order to move the community forward. And I'll end there.
I just want to say, just to clarify, when I say I wanted my babies in that marriage, I do want to be with the man. I just felt like, legally, does that have to be a representation of me having a family? So I just do want to clarify that. But I do want to go to one more of my opinionators, Dark in 2000, before we get back into this conversation. He said, it's not that marriage is a bad thing. It's just that society teaches people that they can have it all and that people don't have to be accountable for their actions. Too many damaged people get together thinking that their marriage will fix themselves and make them happy. Not only that, traditional marriage was based on traditional roles that people no longer want to fill. Monarchists got people thinking that the masculine is feminine and feminine is masculine. It's a damn nightmare. Come on, talk to me, Dark in 2000.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, um, dating is all about impressing each other. People when they sit down across from each other in a date, they're impressing each other. What are your objectives? What are you doing with your life right now? Let's talk about this book. Let's talk about that movie. And they don't understand that dating is the precursor to marriage. If a lot of us are jacked up. I come out of a very bad life in regards to the abuse that I suffered as a child. And sometimes a lot of women, you're with men because, they popularize talking about the abuse that women go through. Men go through a lot of abuse too, especially in their childhood. And we don't deal with that. We're just, as a culture, coming into understanding therapy. You know what I mean? Like I got friends, 2 therapists, which is a great thing. Therapy is a great thing. The problem becomes is that we're not real communicative as a culture anymore. The drug movement and a lot of things that happen to the Black community has separated Black men and Black women. So we don't really know how to communicate as well. We're communicating through movies. We're communicating right now through this show, which is a great thing to be able to talk about these topics. So we're communicating because we're empowering ourselves, but at the same time, we don't know how to gel together. And I feel a lot of you guys talking about staying single. I remain single. I choose to remain single. You can date 400 times if you don't understand that correlation between how to be able to communicate with each other. So toxicity that we have as a culture comes from us not being able to communicate with each other and then thinking that, okay, well, I'll just get married and everything will be okay. And it's not going to be okay because marriage, like all relationships, is work. Your friendships are work. And your family relationships are work. And you talk about moving out your spot, bringing in this new dynamic in a relationship forever that nowadays the world tells you can get up and go whenever you want. Divorce is like, people say, I'll just leave. So now the kids are suffering. So going back to my man talking about generational wealth, that's not even going to happen because now you got co-parenting happening and nobody is really communicating correctly on what the future of that child is. So yeah, it's messed up. But you know what? I love the Black community and I think we're going to work it out somehow,
Thank you. So what do you ladies think of these last 2 Black men speaking on marriage just now?
The last guy who just went, he said something that I wanted to piggyback off of. He said that when people are dating, they're trying to impress each other. I think that's like about 30% of it because feel like another 30% is people are trying to get over on each other. Or the other 30% is people are trying to use each other. Right? So it's not necessarily just they're trying, like everybody's not going into dating like, oh, I'm a great person. I want to
genuinely.
Yeah, right. Because some people are trying to get help. If you live in a state that has high rent or,
you're right.
you have expenses, you have a kid from a previous relationship,
Yeah.
this, that, whatever. Some people are trying to get help. And otherwise,
They want to look lit with somebody.
Yeah.
They look like they make them look better or something.
right.
You're
Or
right.
the other thing is that I see a lot is people have so much trauma and damage from previous relationships that they go in like, oh, that's not happening again. So now they just go in with these walls up
Yeah.
and they cannot be genuine and authentic and organic. So it's like, oh, next time I need this person to do this for me.
Yeah.
You're like, and they're both operating from that space. Like, and that's how you find these people who are trying to get over on each other,
Yeah.
and then the rest is like, okay, maybe 10%, 15%. And maybe this is just my opinion from the type of calls that I do. People mostly call about problems. Like people are not calling.
I'm happy.
Exactly. I'm
in
happy. I'm so in
love.
love. This, that, whatever. So
But it goes back to my point is more people just miserable in the spaces that they're in, like dating, marriage. I mean,
Mhm.
because you're telling me that most people call you with problems.
Yeah. I mean,
So, do you hear anything happy ever?
um, yeah, but then they don't call anymore after that. Like that last call, they're
Right.
like, I met somebody, it's going so great.
That's good.
And then I don't hear from them for months, and I'm like,
I guess they got married.
right, like, I guess it's going good.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right, right.
so it does happen. And I love to see people who've been going through it, like, and then they finally meet somebody and then they're so relieved. And I'm like, whew, there is a God. You know?
Right, absolutely. Because it's hard. Like I said, 12 years, and I think I'm a beautiful woman. Like, why can't I find a man? Like,
Yeah.
it's really, really hard. I do
Well, you
want
got to ask yourself if you being lazy.
We will get into this after this opinionator question. So my next opinionator, Curvy Doll Face, she said, once again, y'all missed what she's saying. What she's saying is true. Growing up, I'm 38. The goal was to get married, have kids, blah, 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 blah. But now more and more people are looking for their person, but the goal isn't marriage. If it happens, then okay. But if not, then okay, cool. Can you just explain what you mean by that? Like, goal marriage isn't a goal anymore?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
For me, like I said, I'm 38, and right now the dating pool is horrible. I have tried. So I still stand by what I said. Like if I meet my person and we decide to get married, then that's cool. But if we decide not to get married, then that's cool as well. Because in my family, my friend circle, and the people that I know that are married, they are all miserable. They are in marriages. They fail to get a divorce for several reasons like religion, children, finances. So they would rather stay unhappy and miserable in a marriage rather than get a divorce. I have seen maybe one or two successful marriages where they actually talk about the marriage being very happy and we enjoy each other company. But for the most part, a lot of the people that I see that are married, they are miserable. They hate going home. They are cheating on their spouses. They get hotel room and lie to their spouses and say, hey, I'm working or whatever, but they're cheating, they're miserable, they're unhappy. I'm not saying that I don't want to be married, but I am saying that to put that pressure on my relationship or to go through a wedding and have children, because right now I do not have any children, and to have children, to get married only to end up in a divorce or hating my partner or end up being miserable. I'm not willing to take that chance. I live a very happy life. I want to remain happy. I want a healthy and happy spouse. I'm born and raised in Georgia. I live in Atlanta. So the dating pool here is horrible.
Girl, I can imagine in Atlanta.
Like it's out of control, like I have a lot of things going good for myself. And so when I meet men and they see that, then they're kind of like turned off by it. So we end up talking. I get thousands. What are you doing? Good morning. And then that's it. Nobody really wants to court. Nobody really wants to date to eventually get there. So for me, I have kind of just scaled back and I'm like, listen, if I meet my person and we're good and we're happy, we're healthy, we're whole. And if we do decide to get married, cool. But if not, I'm not going to trip over it. Like as long as we can still, love each other, we can still build wealth. We can still build, what we want to build, because I feel like people should place expectations on their own relationship. I'm not a traditional person. I've seen traditional marriages in my family. Like I said, they're all miserable. That whole traditional gender role type thing, that's not me. So I just think that people should do what they want to do within their relationship. And if marriage is the goal, cool, get married, be healthy and whole for each other. But if not, live on your own terms.
I love it. Thank you so much. Y'all, she's me right now. Like I feel her. Kat, talk about
I
it.
think this goes back to my original point about people settling, even to get married. Why are you marrying someone you're not compatible with? People just go off chemistry. Like you could chill with anybody and feel a little lusty after them and y'all vibing, sure, that's cool. But people aren't discussing their goals. You get married and then divorced over religious reasons?
Yeah.
That's
You
crazy.
should
Y'all
have knew
didn't
that
know?
before you got married.
Yeah, you didn't know. You
Right.
didn't know your partner didn't want kids.
Right.
Of course you knew. You just figured like, all right, well, I just want to get married so bad I'm married.
Yeah.
You wasted your whole time. You wasted everybody's time because you were beasting. Now you got married to somebody you have no future with. So one, settling. Second point, men do not court no more. There's so many men in the room, so that's crazy. But I feel like men don't court anymore.
Why do you think that?
I have been on. I can't. No. Okay. I've talked to a lot of guys. I won't say dated because men don't take me out on dates. Hardly ever.
They don't want to
It's
spend that
more like
money.
this gender thing comes up, right? And a lot of men use the excuse of like, well, I thought y'all wanted to be equal. Yeah, but I still want you to wine and dine me. You know what I'm saying? Like, take me out, buy me a drink. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, so it becomes like this like weird power play thing. And I'm down to take a man out, sure. But you best
Not at
believe you
first.
have to take exactly.
Yeah, take Courtney.
You know, like what are we talking
You're
about?
a
You
queen
know?
at the end of the
Exactly.
day. At the end of the day. I don't know if you guys heard about this story. It was a baseball player, Tim Anderson. He was married to his wife and he ended up having a baby with a girl that's pretty popular on the internet. The girl exposed them. And then eventually he accepted the son and the wife accepted the son. Summer Walker tweeted, but people always want to throw marriage in my face. Y'all can have it. Do you find this to be true? It's just a lot of people are having infidelity within their marriages and they're not about to lose their man. So they rather take on a bonus child than to walk away from the marriage that they so-called committed to before God. So I'm curious of what y'all thoughts is about this.
I would leave that man so quick. Listen.
But again, like I said, it's a
No.
15% pool of rich men, successful men, good-looking men, and that's your man. So it's like
That ain't
I know a
your
lot of
man.
women that
Listen,
don't want to. This
we-
mine. I'm
we
not
don't
fighting
own
with
nobody. I don't own
That's
that
true.
man. That man does not belong to me.
That's
He
true.
did me dirty. He gotta go.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, like we become so possessive over people. Let that man go. He does not love you. Let that man go. Like I don't know.
Cutty.
When it comes to that type of situation, I've had so many calls and experiences with people having children outside of their marriage, and the reason why they stay is different, right? Sometimes they stay for finances, sometimes they stay for kids, sometimes they stay for ego, sometimes they stay because they don't want
To go look
to-
for nobody else
yeah,
that's gonna
but
do
not
the same
even
thing
so,
to them.
not even for themselves, but because they don't want that person to be happy with somebody else, right? So it's kind of like you're making me, you hurt me, so now I'm gonna stay to make you miserable. Like I've seen that a lot, and I'm like, you are cutting off your nose and spoiling your face, right? It's like you want to stay to because you know they want to go, you know, and but also the outside world, nobody wants to look like they failed.
And that's what I was gonna say. Do you think that that's what this wife is giving the impression of? It seems like she's like, look, we're gonna stand with dignity, and I'm gonna have my head held high, and it's a bonus love. Is that because I've heard so many women say, you know, that's the noble thing to do. That's a real woman right there. Do you agree? Do you think that's a real woman for her to not be going back and forth with this? Because she could have easily, I want to fight this. We're not claiming this child. This child can't come in our household. I mean, we got several situations like Chloe and Tristan. Tristan can't even see the little boy that he chooses not to see the little boy based off of the relationship he has with Chloe. So men do choose every day if they want to be in that child's life based off if they're married or not to the woman.
Yeah, see the dynamic of the husband and wife versus the father and kid like gets real sticky because you have this commitment to this woman, but then as a father,
You don't want to leave your kid.
exactly. If you have any integrity, if you have any honor, if you have any, morals and ethics, because regardless, this wife is a grown woman. This child, innocent, did not ask to be here. So growing up without a father because you were married, it's like that's setting you up for failure.
Yeah.
So if, in my opinion, as bad as this sounds, for the man who made that decision to have a kid, I don't feel like the wife has any real, I don't want to say choice, but for me, it's should always be, that's my kid, taking care of him. If you want to stay,
Even if you had the kid inside of your marriage. Because I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for you to bring an extra
I'm
baby
saying
in.
as the man.
No, but as the woman, I'm asking.
No. Whatever I feel like the man, it should be a constant. As soon as he has a kid, I'm stepping up. That's just what it is. How you feel about it, you decide. That's like that's up to the woman. Whether she stays or goes, but I don't feel like he should
abandon that child.
Yeah.
100%.
It's like, I'm sorry. That's just what it is. You're gonna take it or you're gonna leave.
And
it.
that woman got to decide if she's gonna stay in that situation or not.
For sure. and I think it's also questionable. Like, let's say he decides not to support that child. What are you as a woman gonna do?
Yeah.
Because if I look at a man and I'm like, well, you better go support that baby now, with or without me.
It's just
right?
toxic
Because that's
shit.
your baby.
Sounds like-
But I don't think it's the noble thing to do.
Yeah.
I think that if you're in that relationship and you're hurt and now you're holding resentment towards your partner, leave. Because if you're not gonna forgive and move on, then you have no business being in that relationship.
Because when you forgive, you have to do work too.
I'm about to
Yeah.
say, it's not just an easy, I forgive you.
No, you have to you can't hold it against them. You can't argue and then be like, well, you had a baby.
But it's gotta
Then
be
shut
some
up.
healing
You
too.
can't bring it up.
I want to go to my next opinionator, Zumba by Erin Audrey. She said, girl, you doing the exact same thing, sharing your kid's father with other women. I would most definitely sit this one out because at least she can walk away with more than monthly payments. Talk to me.
The problem that I have with social media is I feel like people get on there and they compare their struggles. Like and they point fingers, and then you have situations like I saw Saucy Santana yesterday on the internet talking about men shouldn't smoke hookahs. Man, don't you wear, you know what I'm saying? Like why do we feel entitled to, like, kind of compare ourselves and our struggles on social media to make ourselves feel better about? So that's why I made the comment strictly towards Summer, because I was just like, okay, so absent an actual contract, the marriage, you're doing the same thing that she's doing.
That's true.
That's the only thing that's missing is the piece of paper saying that you're binded to this man. And not having that paper is not the flex you may not think it is, because while you posting a picture with the 3 strollers and no dad pictured on social media, at least she's in a position where she doesn't have to settle for child support payments, which a lot of women sometimes complain is just not sufficient.
She gonna take half of everything.
She can take half, and if she lives in Texas, I'm also a lawyer. If she lives in Texas and there's a fault in the divorce, she can, even in mediation, negotiate 60-40. So she can use the fact that he did that, had the baby, as leverage in mediation, and maybe even walk away with more. So that either way, she's going to be, I guess, looked out for a little bit better with that protection of having marriage. Now, most people, not most people, but a lot of people get married, one, because of like Christian faith, right? We know that Christian faith does not encourage divorce.
Right.
So if people feel inclined to be married because they're Christian, they could also feel inclined to not get divorced because they're Christian. While having an outside child is grounds to get a divorce, it's allowed, it's still not encouraged. God wants us to go get therapy, do anything we can before we make the decision to get the divorce.
You know what's so crazy to me right now? I just feel like people shouldn't cheat. Like I'm listening to everything that everybody's saying, and it's just like, why are you fucking cheating? Like, it seemed like it'll be so much easier not to cheat or not to get married. You know what I mean?
It's not that easy, because once you get married, people change, right? Like, people can change by the day, the week, the month, the year. People get married in their 20s. People get married 30s, 40s. Like, they get married at any time. Some people, they get married too young, right? They get married too young, and by the time they figure themselves out and come into themselves and
Don't even
what they
like
want
that
to do,
person.
exactly. You could have got married at 21. A lot of people get married because they're in the military, like the benefits, the this,
Or
that.
they
Like,
got kids.
I see a lot of that. So, you get married young, and then by the time you become a mature person, 30 or 35 or 40, whatever, you're like, I'm not the same person I was at 21. You everything could have changed. Your religion, you could turn into a vegan. You could turn into a health freak. You could turn into, your beliefs about marriage. You could want to be poly, whatever. All of this could change. And then now it's like, it's creating this contention between you two. So, and then there's some people who legitimately just don't want to let go. So
Yeah.
people are like, all right, well, if they're not going to let me go easy, then I'm going to just go take the easy way out and I'm going to cheat.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about this situation, like, my biggest hope for me is that whoever I decide to date, whoever I decide to marry, like, they could talk to me about it. Because I think, like you said, temptation is there. The internet definitely shows you a plethora of people like, damn, he fine, or like, damn, her ass is fat. Like, and then what is cheating? Because cheating could be sliding to somebody's DM. Cheating could be, overly looking at somebody. Like, what is cheating in 2023 these days?
People have to talk about that though. Like you need to be on the same page as your partner. If flirting is cheating to you, you need to express that. If your man goes out and buys someone a drink, if that's cheating to you, you need to let your man know. And I think most people just want to have this facade though. So like, no, I highly doubt that a man is gonna be like, yo, babe, I have thoughts about cheating on you. Of course not, because he wants to like keep the image that he's this loyal, faithful man.
But that shit would turn me on though. Not to say it like this. I know that's weird, but it would. It'd be like, hey,
the fact that he's being honest.
Yes, like damn. Okay, let me go put that wig on and go change up this outfit for you. Then because that's how I feel.
I don't think they would be like that. I think we need the transparency and like a man saying I feel like something's lacking right now, and I don't know what I need, but like we need to discuss that issue. Even if it's like, all right, let's go to couples therapy, whatever it needs to be. But I think that's the transparency we need. Like, yo, I feel like there's this void in our relationship and I'm unhappy, or, I'm having thoughts about like, maybe we're not right for each other, whatever that means. But I think if you tell me you have thoughts about cheating on me, I'm going to say go cheat. I'm like, boy, if you don't go.
But here's the thing. Cheating is not about sex for the most part.
It's emotional.
Like cheating, even for men, is not
missing something.
Strictly sex. And a lot of men do not like to be vulnerable to say what it is that they want, but women also don't listen. Right? And they also don't listen even when they get the answer. Because they be like,
no,
but why?
You can't feel that way.
Right. but why?
Yeah.
Right? So like, let's say, for example, I tell people all the time, a man is like, let's say a man with money, right? A man with money does not want money back. He wants something else. If you go to the vending machine, you put $1 in, you don't want your dollar back. You want the chips, you want the soda, you want the candy. Like you want something else. So you are not going to give the man back money if he's paying for the bills and this. Sometimes it is, he just wants you to acknowledge that this is what he does. This is what he goes to work every day for. He takes care of you, the family. So like every single month, instead of being like, where the money for the rent? Where the money for the wait, I need the money for the babysitting. It's a way to say like, babe, I am the babysitting is due at the, today or
and I'm
tomorrow,
gonna suck your dick at the end of the night.
No. It's like, and when he gives it to you, thank him every week, every month, every time. People are like, why? He know he got it. Because who wants to just work all these hours and be like, here,
and not feel appreciated.
Here, right? Instead, you could say something like, I really appreciate how well you take care of me and, Lola. I really appreciate you. I don't know what I would do without you. You're the great, like, I couldn't have chosen better. Just something to deposit into that, because I'm the type of person, if you stroke my ego, I'm gonna keep on giving.
Right.
Because
that's how I feel.
like,
right.
I just, that any behavior that's that's reinforced is gonna continue.
Yeah.
So if he does an action, you give him praise for it, he's gonna want to continue to do it. Yeah. If he does an action, he gets ignored, or you feel entitled, to it, or you feel like he's obligated to do it. And a lot of women, they pride themselves on having money, making money, being independent. Oh, I don't even whether he's there or not. And then be like, I cannot believe he was messing with that girl. She's broke. She's a bum. Because when he gave her that $400 or that $700, she was giving him a feeling that made him feel valuable.
Wow.
And they might not even be having sex as much as you think they're having sex, but it's really all about him feeling like he's valuable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Let's go to this next clip, because this clip that I'm gonna play is from my Uncle Charlemagne, and he's saying like he enjoys being faithful.
I have yet to see a man ruin his family because of infidelity and be the same person after that. Either they become a better human, but there's always that regret. There's always that hole. And I wish that's the conversation us as men should have. Like, instead of being the adult that my dad was to me, telling me like, oh, you only got one girlfriend? One day you gonna understand. I'd rather be the dude that said, hey man, when I started devoting myself to my wife, like literally committing myself to my wife. I'm not cheating. I'm not doing nothing else. And I'm going to therapy and I'm doing the work on myself. Bro, look at my life the last 6, 7 years. I came up in every way, like every way, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, everything.
Woo, that's heavy. I think I particularly picked this clip because I just thought that is it an elevation when you do meet the right person? Is it an elevation all the way across the board when you don't have infidelity in a relationship? Is it raising the spirits and the vibrations of both parties when you can actually have somebody that, like he said, devoted themselves to you? Because, like you said, you don't own anybody, but it's a certain thing when you know that's your person,
Of course.
that's your special.
But that's because
someone.
they're making the effort, not because it's like a forceful thing. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when I say you don't own nobody, it's like that concept of like, well, that's my man, so he can't leave. No matter what he did, girl, come on, let that man go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I think the dedication, yes, it's a whole other level. Like you feel like that person is yours, like
Yeah.
emotionally, but you don't own them. So I think what he said is beautiful though. And I think it's very rare to hear a man say that because
Well, Charlamagne definitely preaches black men don't cheat, and I'm like,
I don't know, but okay.
Right, okay, but I've been knowing Charlamagne for that period of time, and I have seen his elevation, and I have seen his growth, and I don't know what he does on his outside world, but if he's saying is a big part of that is because he devoted himself to his wife, I'm asking myself, well, like, why more people don't see that?
Well, the thing is, back to what I was saying before about, men not want to be vulnerable or whatever, right? So sometimes the things that they want, they don't want to express. They don't feel like it's enough, like it doesn't have any value, or they're a little embarrassed about it, right? So, like, let's say a man says to his wife, I don't mind paying the bills, but if you could at least just stroke my ego. They're not going to say that, right? Because it's taboo. It makes you look weak. Why you need that? Because even when I do tell women explicitly, you need to do this, they fight me about it. Like, why? Why do I need to do that? But it's those things that make them go seek, but they don't seem big enough for it to be like a conversation. So even when you could spell it out for a woman, this is what I feel, this is what I want. Can you just do this small little thing? They're like, because it's not big enough, it's like, no.
So they'd be like, what, you OD?
Yeah, it's not that serious. So those little, it's like chipping away at the wood, right? Every single day you build resentment. She doesn't say thank you. She doesn't say she's not affectionate. She doesn't, say I love you, this, that, whatever. Now, some people will say, why are you putting so much emphasis on the woman? It's like, we always put the emphasis on the man about what he's not doing, right? But it can get done. You know how they always say, if you know better, you do better,
Yeah, right.
If somebody's giving you, just start from where we are right now. If you start implementing these things, you may get a better response for him. He may not, need to ask somebody else, like talk to somebody else at work. If he's at home every single day and you're not complimenting him and he goes to work and the girl at work says,
like, damn, you fine.
Yeah, you look good. Oh my God, what's going on today?
Right, you're right.
Maybe somebody that he never even looked at in that way, but he got that compliment and it's like, and it's the same way the other way around for women.
Yes.
It's the same way. But I just feel like, being that I speak to women so much, women swear that men are the problem. We're all the problem.
We are the problem.
Like, it's not just
I agree,
men.
women lack showing affection most of the time. And I think in our community, I'm Black, I'm Dominican, right? We're not taught to be affectionate that much. Like, I don't know.
And you've been
I'm
hurt
gonna
so much,
speak,
too.
yes, I'm gonna speak for myself because my mother was loving, but it wasn't like an affectionate household. You know what I'm saying? And that carried on with me through like into my relationships, right? And I think that's why my last relationship was in 2016, because I worked so hard to allow myself to become a vulnerable woman, right? To allow myself to like show my delicate side and not be so fucking hard all the time.
So
right?
masculine,
I'd be
right.
like, yo, like legit, I used to be like, boy, if you don't shut up, like that was me all the time. Like, get your shit together, all right? Because I'm busting my ass and I need you to just like
Do
chill
the
the fuck
thing.
out,
Yeah.
right? But we can't do shit like that. Like,
Man want to feel like a man
of
at the end of the
course.
day.
So like, you gotta let yourself like get in tune with your more feminine and like nurturing side,
Which
and, like,
is
just be
hard.
fucking. It is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
And that's it is hard.
It's the hardest thing because I know for me personally, everybody walks up like, you have so much masculine energy, but it's like, because I take out my own damn trash, because I have to fix everything in my house, because I sleep alone every night. I pay all my bills, everything that I do that I'm not expecting a man to do, but I'm taking on a very masculine role. So I come across very strong at times.
But when you get a guy,
and they tell me I'm strong.
No, but when you get a guy, do you ask him to throw out the garbage?
I don't. No.
See? Because you got to do it because you have to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's there. But when he comes, you can now, he's here. You can be like, babe, can you take out the garbage for me?
I need to fall into that energy.
It will, like, I have been there with, like, I've dated guys and they'll try to do things like that. And I'd be like, chill, like, what you doing?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Not like in my head, yo. Not too bad.
I'm about to say,
in my head, they are the garbage man. They come,
but it's just like
that's
this,
what they there
like,
for.
this excess independent. I'm also a single mother, right, to a boy, right? So I have, like, this, I'm a mother, I move, like, I just get my shit fucking done, right? So I wasn't used to men just wanting to do things. Like, I didn't grow up my father in the household. That's uncommon to me. So, like, when men come into my house and they're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'd be like, this is
But even
weird.
if they don't want to do it, I ask them to do it, right?
See, I've never have. But I'm now, my point is, like, now, after 6 fucking years of being single,
ready?
no, yes, you want to pick that up? Yes, here. I'd be like, here's my bag. Literally. There's no hesitation no more. Just let that shit fucking go.
I used to leave the garbage there on purpose
to see if they gonna
until
pick it
he
up.
came back. If
Never.
the garbage gets
Never.
too big, I'm putting it on the terrace.
No.
Until he comes and acting like I couldn't do it.
No.
That's facts. Yes, I do that to my
because
child.
That gives him importance. Like, even when we would argue, he would just show up at my house and he'd be like, I'm like, what you here for? To take out the garbage.
Wow.
And I'm like,
I
but
need
that's
one of
his-
those.
Yeah, I
That's
need
like
one of
his
those.
way of being like,
Yeah.
I know you ain't take out the garbage.
Right.
If I wasn't here, how was the garbage gonna get taken out? Lord knows I'm gonna take out the garbage eventually.
Right.
Look, everything.
Yeah.
Everything is gonna get done.
It is.
But give them a role that makes you feel like you need them, even if it's for the smallest thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
So let's go to my next opinionator. SDP the Ghost. He said, y'all make it seem like it's the hardest thing in the world to not cheat. If you got one person you're worried about, of course you're going to have more time to focus on your goals and build, therefore being more successful. Time is the most valuable thing on earth. Don't waste it. Expand on that for me, King.
Yeah, I just feel like, pardon me, like a lot of people nowadays, they think that they got like a lot of options or like they want to have their cake and eat it too, but like they don't realize all this time and energy you put into things that aren't really important to you. Like, say, like if you're a player or whatever, you want to have hella girls. Like, what are these girls bringing to you at the end of the day? They're not helping you. They're not helping you pay your mortgage, helping you get forward in your career and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I just feel like people be wasting time on a lot of the wrong things, and then they wake up and they're 60 and like, oh damn, I'm single and like I don't really have anything to show for it. Like, what did I do? What did I do not building a relationship instead of trying to have fun for like my whole life? Like, it just kind of like ass backwards to me.
Yeah, yeah. I want to go to my next clip. I think this clip that I'm about to show is what everybody dreams to have.
How do you get to year 20 and want to call it quits? And that was initiated by you. It's interesting because in today's day and age, 80 to 85% of divorces are initiated by women. It's interesting that you wanted to do that 31 years ago. So what did you face 31 years ago where you said, I'm done?
She faced my complacency. Like, this is cool. I don't need to work anymore at loving her. I don't want to work. I don't need to work anymore at making her feel important. I don't need to work anymore at making her feel respected. I don't. She has desires and visions and dreams, but I don't have to be concerned about that because she's there every day. And so it reached the perfect storm. And when she finally said, "I've had enough," see, you have to understand that we change. And so she had studied in Europe, studied in Paris, France, and so she's now, okay, I've been exposed to some things, and I got some things I want to make happen. Oh, girl, don't worry about that. And kept on moving. And pretty soon it got to a place like, you're not hearing me, you're not paying any attention to me, and I'm unfulfilled, I'm unappreciated, I'm disrespected. So let me get out of this. And so that's what happens. It happens at different times in marriages.
Yeah.
It goes back to your point that you made. You know, people get real complacent within a relationship. They start to forget about their partner. They start to forget about their needs and their wants.
Yeah, but also that people change. You know, like
And people
he said,
change. Yeah.
he said she went to school. She traveled across the world. You know, as we encounter new people, things are always going to start shifting in our, you know, we add it to our values. We start changing our mindset. You know, I have a book. It's called The M Man is for Money. And the first like chapter gives an example of when I met that first guy with money. Prior to me having met him, I was a little sugar mama. I was buying guys stuff. I was giving my little boyfriend at the Bronx
Cooking
Zoo
dinners and
my whole check.
oh my God.
Girl.
The check was only like $170.
I get it, but I'm just saying.
But he got his $170 check. I got my $170. He was like, I'm gonna get the Jordans today, and then next week I'm gonna go get an outfit. I said, he had my check because my grandmother spoiled me, so she was gonna give me the Jordans and all of that.
Right.
So you know, before that, I was giving so much money. I was doing everything for a guy. I done paid a guy's child support. I done paid a guy's parking tickets, driving all of that. 21 years old came. I met a guy, and he was like, he gonna fly me to Atlanta to visit him. I was like,
fly me?
I said,
I get flued.
I was like, men have money? What the hell? I didn't even know men had money. What the hell's going on in here?
Right.
And then so when he flew me out and he paid for me for the weekend and he gave me money to go into the mall.
New thing.
I was like, oh, I like this type.
Right.
And I ain't going back. Right? So if you go to school, you go to another country, you go to work, you meet somebody else, and it's like,
it changes.
You're like, oh, there's a type out here like this?
Right.
Okay. I want that type.
Right.
You know? So every single day you might experience something different that adds to who you are as a person and your life.
I want to go to my opinionator, the Ambria Life. She said, woo, this was my parents at one point. My mother even moved assets in preparation. But baby, God said no. And after faith-based counseling, they are about to celebrate 41 years of marriage. My father has forever changed for the better because of that reality check. Talk to me, sis. Have you seen it from your parents' point of view? I would love for you to expand.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the Ambra Life.
I'm sorry.
No, you have it. Yeah, my parents just celebrated 41 years on February 14th. So just this last Valentine's Day. And it really was exactly what that clip showed. My mother being an extrovert, my father being an introvert, met literally, she was the girl next door. They grew up in the same block. And that, you know, those 20s, those 30s, their 40s, just ever evolving. I believe that if my mother was raised in this generation, my parents would not be together. Primarily due to just the quick exit plan that a lot of people have transitioned. It's not working, let me just try something else. My mother was a praying woman, and she simply gave my father an option. Either you do what is necessary for the marriage, not just for the needs that I have, but I've raised my children. She was an empty nester, and she wanted to live her life fully. My father was not dating her. He was not traveling with her. He was not doing anything but working exponentially more than he needed to. You're out of college. Like, what are your bills at this point? You know? So, yeah, it took the realization of like, I call my parents by their first name when I joke around with them because, you know, Fred, what are you thinking? Like, if Jean leaves you, baby, what's your day looking like?
What you gonna do? Right.
What are you gonna do? And it really just shook him. And to see my father dote over my mother now, take her away, you know, after Christmas and spend weeks with her, to how he treated her on their 41st year, just a week and a half ago. He, you know, she's giddy at 65.
I love that.
Yeah, so I witnessed it and I supported it. I mean, me and my sister were very much prepared to take my mother in and have her start this new chapter if my father did not make the adjustments needed.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. You hold your daddy accountable. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
I think the thing is, some people think marriage is unconditional. It's not. Nobody loves you unconditionally, except for your mama. So, okay, like that's it. Your mother, and that's it.
Yeah.
But you have to like entice your spouse forever, right? So I agree. Like if you stay complacent and your partner's not doing nothing, it's a turn off, right? And I think that's been my issue. Like I said, like as a single mom, you saw me, Jazz, take my son to school at night.
Yep.
I still worked.
Yep.
Like it was not easy. So
Yeah.
when I run into a man that doesn't do anything, I get so turned off.
Yeah.
But the don't do anything is relative, right? Because if
Of
you
course.
act like you don't need anything, then he doesn't. Sometimes men don't know where to fit in.
No. I mean literally with your
Oh.
life. Like
Oh,
if you're
oh.
not like moving, if you don't
Oh,
have
with his
goals,
life.
yeah,
Yeah.
like with his life, not
Oh.
not
Oh,
for
okay.
me, right?
Yeah.
But like if he's someone who did like if you don't go to college, fine. But now what are you doing,
Yeah.
right? So it's like if you're just day-to-day working retail, I worked retail, so I'm not shaming it, and that was my hustle while I was in school. I had to pay for college. But what's next? So if you're still 34 and you're telling me, yeah, I just work Forever 21, I'm like, okay, so what you
But what
working
if he's like the
towards?
general manager and he's making like 100,000 just because he works there? I'm just curious.
But I'm saying, what do you work? If that's your passion, if you are happy right there,
Then cool.
all right, sure.
I want to go to my last opinionator, and she said marriage gives a whole new meaning to long suffering. God bless them for finding their way. Talk to me, Fatima. Hopefully I'm saying this, Fatima PhD.
Yeah, that's it. It was in reference to the clip that you just played. I think what I heard there was, and just like the sister was just saying earlier, like people change, right? But that's each of us in relationship are changing. So it's not just we get exposed to things and now I want a different person, or I want to, it's just I'm evolving. The things I loved yesterday, I don't love today. And so can we evolve together? And the long suffering part for me was like, it's challenging when you're with somebody and you feel like you're growing and they're not growing. But then it's also, we have to have some grace we have different paces for how we grow, right? And so for me as a woman who I've been married, I've been, divorced, and I still believe in marriage. And I just know that that's a tricky point. I feel like that's a very tricky point. And so that's why I said long suffering, because especially if you believe in like Christian marriage, or if that's your foundation, it's how much grace. Like I've got to be able to give grace to you, just like I'm gonna need grace for me, but I also don't want you to take that grace for granted, right? So that's that fine balance between how do we grow, even though we're doing it at different paces and we shouldn't be judging each other, but we also do have to like pull it together. It can't just be I'm flying and you're not, and then at some point, like we got to bring it together at some point.
Yeah. I want to give you an example of that. So a couple of years ago, I started therapy. Well, several years ago now, almost 10 years. I started therapy, and I realized that I was using shopping and items and all of that stuff to fill this endless void that was never going to be filled with items, right? I needed help with something else, which was childhood traumas,
A lot of
parental
shit.
stuff, previous relationships, myself, self-esteem, confidence, all of that stuff. So, but my fix, which I didn't even know I had an issue, right? It was just like, oh, I'm a shopaholic. I just shop. When in reality, that's not what it was. It was me trying to fill the void. So finally, after therapy, I'm realizing, oh, wow, I done got myself into debt. I'm eating I'm damn near a hoarder in this bitch. Like I got every single shoe in every single color. I got every single, everything that comes out, all trying to fill this space. So now I said, oh, I'm gonna let it all go.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna do all of this stuff. It was for me, right? For me. I wanted to prove that I didn't need to hold on to these items anymore. It was very important.
Yeah.
And at the time, I started selling my stuff online because I have a big following. They bought it. It was like $50,000 worth of stuff that was
you just
that
got
I
rid of
sold,
everything in
that
your
I sold
house.
in my. But that's the thing. It was only a fraction.
Right,
It was only a fraction of what I had, and I sold it in my story. At the time, the guy that I was with was like, "Oh my God, why are you selling this stuff online? You looking like you're broke. You're looking like I can't take care of you." And I'm like, this ain't about you. This is about me. Like I'm selling this stuff for my own reason.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, this is so embarrassing. He's getting mad that I'm online selling my stuff, telling me that it makes him look like he can't hold me down, like he's broke. And I'm like, and things like that used to like get us in arguments and stuff, because even if it was a situation, let's say I didn't have any money, I'm gonna sell some stuff, right? And he would be like, he would want to keep it, under wraps.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, your ego is not paying the bill.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what are you talking about? You know, like, and then so now I felt like, oh, I'm the type of person who could sacrifice.
Yeah.
You are not. So now we're getting in the other, and because now I'm insulting him. Like, oh, you just do things for the show, you know, for a show. You can't sacrifice.
And that's somebody that sounds like they just don't understand you.
Yeah.
Or get you.
But that was because I had started going to therapy. I had started changing. I had started getting to a better and bigger place in my life. And he hadn't gotten there yet. So he definitely was like, girl, why you letting everybody? He couldn't be vulnerable. I was already past that part in my therapy where I was able to be vulnerable. And I didn't care what anybody else thought.
Right. Right.
Like, and also it helped other people.
Right.
Because I used to get online and say things like, listen, if you were struggling with making the right decision for yourself because you did not want anybody to talk shit, laugh at you, or you didn't want to be embarrassed or ashamed, here's your sign to do so. I'm popular. I'm doing it.
I'm out of here
I
if you
don't
don't want it.
right? And other people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you. You know, I have been wanting to go back to my mom's house. I have been wanting to take some time off. I have been wanting to, you know, move or, you know, go stay with my sister for a little while to save some money. I have been wanting to leave my husband, but I don't want to tell my family, you know, anything about what's going on.
People's
So
perception could change
yeah.
things. Yeah.
And I'm like, just do what you gotta do for yourself.
So, ladies, I have the final question I do have to ask you. What is your perception of marriage after this conversation? What do you feel after you hearing the opinionators and us have this conversation? Do you, Kat, do you believe in marriage in 2023?
I do. Absolutely still.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stand firm. Like, you need to get to know someone and make sure you're compatible. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you're saying, we can't give people grace. Like Fatima said, you should give someone grace, but there has to be everybody has boundaries.
Yep.
Stick to your boundaries and be realistic with your boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't expect your man from one day to another to just make these changes, right?
100%.
Give them grace, but be supportive and motivate them. And I think if we just work on our communication as a community, because I think that's our downfall, right? We need to just communicate and make sure you actually know this person before you get married.
You absolutely. Cutty?
Being that well, I'm 36 right now, so I feel like by the time I decide to get married, I will really have checked off all the, you know, like
You did what you did.
yeah, done a
right?
little audit system to make sure that I'm getting married for the right reasons. Probably 60% of it will be money, you know.
Okay. I ain't gonna lie.
For money. There's gonna be some love in there. But otherwise, like, because I'm definitely not getting married for love. Like, just
Why you say that?
Because we could go back to what Lala said at the beginning. People getting married for business these days.
yeah.
And
Like,
you believe
that's
that you in 2023, marriage is business to you. I'm assuming.
No,
I'm
no,
hearing.
I want a little bit of love in there.
You want a little bit of love.
Yeah, I want
All
some
right.
love.
All right, all right.
I want love in marriage.
I don't know. Like, the thing is, I wouldn't, and I'm gonna do whatever. I love that for you. But like, I need love. I don't care. Like, I don't want you to be broke. Like, I want us to be able to go out to eat and we could travel, but I can support myself and I support myself and my child just fine. Like, yes, bring something to the table. We can build something together, buy a house and whatever. But like, if you're not loving me, I don't need you. I love myself just fine too.
Yeah.
Like, I spoil myself. I take myself out on dates. I take myself to the spa, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So I just need you to bring something to me emotionally that, like, you know, nurture me, like motivate me. That's what I want.
I want both.
I want both, but like,
I want both,
I
but
need
it's
love
not gonna
more.
be just love.
Well, ladies, I just want to tell you thank you so much. And I hope that to my opinionators, my men and my females, y'all find love and y'all find marriage. Growing up, I always thought that getting married and starting a family was just a part of life. But here I am at 31 years old, successful, single with no kids. It's not something that I ever thought would be my reality. But in today's generation and time, it seems like more and more people are asking themselves, do I even want to get married? I think a part of the reason why marriages seem foreign to many of us is because we've been exposed to so many failed marriages, infidelity, and negative surrounding relationships. But deep down, everyone wants to find real love. We want a partner who is also our best friend, soulmate, and better half. The question is, at what cost? As someone that has been single for 12 years and has had a few bad experiences with men, I understand how tough it can be. But I've also learned that sometimes being single is a way for God to protect us and prepare us for the right person. So if you're still looking for the love of your life, have faith that they will come at the right time. So keep your heart open and trust the process. Who knows? The love of your life might be right around the corner. I want to thank my opinionators, and I also want to thank my guests, Cutty and Katherine. Can you guys drop your social media so everyone can find you?
I am Passport_Cutty on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, _Kat with a K Della on Instagram.
Each and every one of you has an opinion, and it matters. Or maybe it doesn't. I just hope today's conversation opens you up to more than your opinion. I'm Jahze Yvette, and this is Too Many Opinions.